I know you gonna dig this.
Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? How are you doing today? Here I am in Beverly Hills, California, and I am at the intersection of Sunset and Whittier. Now, this video I've attempted to make probably 3 times at least, and every time I do it, I'm not happy with it. I do this a lot with videos, and I say I'm going to redo them. This time I'm actually finishing it and doing it, because I always find out more information, and then I'm like, oh, I should have added that, I should have said that. Where I am is known as the Beverly Hills Triangle. You know the Bermuda Triangle, where weird things happen? Well, this intersection, weird things happen. Okay, so we're going from 1946, 1947, 1967, 2010. We're gonna start in 1967 because that's where this incident occurred. Remember the band Jan and Dean from the 60s? They were known for Surf City and a song called Dead Man's Curve. Now, they were huge. A lot of people think that Dead Man's Curve was written about this curve right here. Right here, coming along Sunset. Look at how fast this guy's going, for one. That's fast. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that's way too fast for that turn. But it's actually written, that song was written about an intersection further down at Sunset and Doheny, which is about a mile down. I'm not sure, about a mile down. I just passed it. A curve that goes right up, right when you're going onto the strip. And there's a Jaguar dealership, and I always love stopping there and looking in the window. I'm not a car guy, but then there was a famous club back in the 90s that was off the corner. And I can't remember what the name of it was. But it's really cool. It's kind of when you're just going from Beverly Hills onto the Sunset Strip. That's the curve from Dead Man's Curve. But in 1967, Jan Barry of Jan and Dean, he was coming right along here, and he's turning this way towards us, right here, and he slammed into a truck, a parked truck. Now, they were huge. They were very, very big at the time, and this park wasn't here. But he slammed into a truck and almost died. He was in a coma. He was paralyzed. He eventually did recuperate from his injuries, but it was just not too long after the release of Dead Man's Curve. So people thought, how ironic, which is true. How ironic that he would make a turn like that and get into such a horrific car accident. Now, further down is where we're going now to 1946, 1947. 2 houses, well, 3 kind of, right across the street from each other, were some very, very crazy. See, Beverly Hills, for all its riches and how beautiful it is, which it is, has some really dark parts to it. And people are fascinated by it. I am, especially because it's the rich and the famous. And when true crime happens to the rich and the famous, it's just much more of a, it's just, I don't know, what's the word? It fascinates everybody. It's, you think, well, they're not like us. Well, some of the ways that things happen to them, definitely not like us, but crime happens everywhere. And right down here, something really, really infamous happened. So this is the the Beverly Hills Triangle. See? That's why I would have restarted this. I would have said, I'm stopping this and coming back and doing another day. But no, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna get through this because I want to show you these things. So I'm parked right around here right now. We're gonna drive down just a little tiny bit, and that's where the actual triangle is. where the street splits off into two. Whittier Drive and Linden. So this is the start of the Bermuda, Beverly Hills Triangle. This is the start, but I'm going to show you the actual triangle now. I'll show you a couple of things down here. It's going to freak you out. Maybe not freak you out, but you're going to find it interesting. Trust me. Let's go. Jan Barry, right there. That's where his car accident was. Wow. Surf City, here we come. Well, it took him a long time. I don't know if he ever went surfing again after that. I don't think so. They were kind of like the Beach Boys, but different. Just less of them. All right, so here I am at the intersection of Linden and Whittier, and this is the Beverly Hills Triangle, right here. You can see, well, it's hard for you to tell, but right there, that would be the tip of the triangle, and it goes off this way, and it goes off that way. Triangle. So, on Linden, right here, where it splits off, so right where we were just now, that's just right up that street. Sunset's right there, that corner that I showed you. You come down here and you stop at this house right here. And this is the house in 1947 where Bugsy Siegel was shot to death. Right in his living room right there. Bugsy Siegel, famous mobster. Around 10:45 p.m. at night, I believe it was June of 1947. Had some friends over after dinner. And he was sitting in his living room right there where those four windows are, reading the Los Angeles Times. And he was shot by an unknown assailant. Still unsolved to this day, but it was in that house right there. So those four windows that you see there, 5 windows, now that I'm looking, right underneath the balcony. There's actually a 5th window there. I thought it was 4. He was shot 4 times. And warning, gruesome alert coming. Well, he was shot in the temple and one of his eyeballs shot across the room. The assailant came up this driveway right here, the house next door, and shot that way through the side windows, which I can't really see. And I can't go up the driveway. Shot in to that living room right there. Now, the house was not owned by Bugsy Siegel. It was rented by leased by his girlfriend, Virginia Hill. Now, this scene is depicted in the film Bugsy. If you haven't seen Bugsy with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening, it's a great mobster movie from the 90s. It is so well done. Anything Warren Beatty does is usually well done. Bulworth, well done. But yeah, so there's that right there, the Bugsy Siegel house. Famous house here in Beverly Hills. Show you that living room one more time. Needless to say, it was a hit, a mob hit. Whoever did it was probably hit himself or is no longer alive, I would imagine. I don't think so. But right there in those windows, that's where Bugsy Siegel was shot. Right from that driveway. Now, we're just gonna walk right down the street. There's Bugsy's house, his girlfriend's house, but where Bugsy was shot, right there. And we're just gonna walk down a little bit, not too far, because something world famous. Well, but the shooting of Bugsy Siegel was very famous at the time, but something really huge happened right here. I'm gonna tell you something about Beverly Hills right now. If you wanna come and you can do one of those star tours, sure. But you can do it yourself. You can look up addresses online. You can get a celebrity, like a star-studded, map of the stars' homes. And they're usually pretty correct. They usually are spot on, especially with older celebrities. A lot of the younger celebrities don't tend to live in Beverly Hills. They're more in the Hollywood Hills. Look at that very cool sculpture there. Isn't that interesting? But you can always find parking. It's very, very quiet. and then the bustling Sunset Strip is just up there where all that traffic is. But the streets of Beverly Hills themselves, very, very, very quiet, very calm. Now, I'm assuming you've heard of Howard Hughes, American businessman, very, very rich. He was a pilot, he was an inventor, he was a philanthropist, and he suffered from severe obsessive compulsive disorder. I mean, if you've seen the movie The Aviator, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Martin Scorsese, it pretty much tells the story of Howard Hughes. And in 1946, in July of 1946, he crashed a test plane that he was flying into this house right here. Right here is where he was trying. The plane was failing, so he was going to try to land at the Los Angeles Country Club. He didn't make it. He crashed into these houses right here. Now, one of them has been rebuilt, but I believe this house here is still the same one. In the movie, they depicted it really well, but I assume they used different houses. But his plane sliced into that house right there, and landed. And he lived, but went right through the bedroom. I believe it's that house. Now, it's these two houses right here. So like I said, one of them has been completely rebuilt, and I think it was that one. But yeah, now, it's hard to find information about which one was the one that was rebuilt, but this is the first house he struck for sure. Howard Hughes, right there. And he suffered chronic pain for the rest of his life from that accident.
Howard Hughes, famous flyer and sportsman, was dragged out of this wreckage of an experimental plane he was testing. He was seriously injured. After ripping the corner from two homes in Beverly Hills, California, the plane finally plunged into this house. The force of the impact virtually wrecked the building and caused the plane to catch fire. The flyer said that the accident was due to motor failure shortly after his takeoff. He failed to make a crash landing on a golf course. America's aviation trailblazers willingly pay the price in man's conquest of the air.
So there's the Howard Hughes houses. Bugsy Siegel is just like 4 doors up on this side. Now, there's something else. Another famous crime. You may not have heard of this one. I mean, it did make national headlines. The person wasn't as famous as Jan Barry, Bugsy Siegel, or Howard Hughes. But for the bizarreness of the crime, it made national headlines and is somewhat solved, but there's still questions. So a lot of questions about what happened to publicist to the stars, Ronnie Chasen, right around the corner here. So Ronnie Chasen, now, and there's different pronunciations of her name. There used to be a restaurant in Los Angeles called Chasen's. So I think the word Chasen would be pronounced Chasen, but some people say Ronnie Chasen. But right over here, something very bizarre happened to her. Something very sad as well. She was leaving a party at the W Hotel over at Hollywood and Vine. It was a screening of the film Burlesque. Remember Cher, Christina Aguilera? No? Well, that movie. So she left and drove along Sunset Boulevard. And just at that intersection, Sunset and Whittier, she was stopped. So straight up there, this is the triangle again we're back at, just to give you a little indication. There's the house where Bugsy Siegel was shot. So she was at that intersection turning left to come down this street. Somebody came up beside her and she was shot. The 4th bullet was the one that was proved to be the fatal wound. Why was she shot? Was she targeted? Was it a road rage incident? Was it a robbery? Was it a hit? It's never been said exactly why. But what happened was she still managed to turn left and drive her car all the way down Whittier. But sadly, she was dying as she was driving along. And she ended up right up here. Take a look at this pole right here. Now you see the color of it, what it looks like. It's a little, it's been here for a while. This one over here is newish. I'm not sure, and there's another one down there that's older. I'm not sure if it's been 20 years, 30 years for these ones, but this one is about 11 years old because this is the telephone pole that she struck right here. Now, I'm gonna show you that pole 1 second. The person that they say killed Ronnie Chasen shot himself in front of the police. He was a person of interest in the case, and he bragged about it, and he said he did it, he stood to earn $10,000 for killing her, and he bragged about it. So when the police cornered him at a hotel just on Santa Monica Boulevard in a seedier part of Hollywood, he shot himself to death in the lobby. Very, very bizarre. But the police said the ballistics matched on the gun. So it's kind of a case closed thing with them. But was he on a bike? Was he driving a car? There's been conflicting reports. Either way, it happened right here at that intersection. She came down through the Beverly Hills Triangle. The car ended up right here. So you can see this pole is a lot different. It's much newer than the other ones, if you take a look at it. And there's a couple of shots of the car, the car after it crashed. And you can see that in the background from the fence. You can see a bit of that house right there. But yeah, it was right here where she finally couldn't drive any further. I mean, her car was cruising down the street, hit this pole, and she was pronounced dead at the hospital not too long afterwards. So as I'm walking, that's the pole behind me right there. And so the Beverly Hills Triangle is right at this intersection, Linden and Whittier. Like I said, it kind of starts at Sunset and Whittier, and then you go south. And that's the story of the Beverly Hills Triangle. Lots of weirdness right here. People come out here and do paranormal investigations, try to tap into that world. I just came to document it kind of in my own way and show you what it's all about if you've ever heard of the Beverly Hills Triangle. But yeah, this is it right here. Doesn't matter what time of day it is, you can hear a pin drop in Beverly Hills always. It's so quiet. Here's a Hollywood tour bus going by, and she's probably not even going to stop. No. Let's see if she stops. No. She's just going through this area. You got to be careful with these tours. I went on one once, and I got to tell you, the guy did not know very much. He missed so many things. My friend wanted to come from, was visiting me, and when I was here, wanted to come out. And instead of me driving around one night or afternoon, they were like, well, why don't you just take a night off, showing us everything, and just sit back? I was like, yeah, let's see what a tour's like. And I'm telling you, they missed so much. Get a guidebook, and a map. Maybe do it yourself. Because you can find things that they're not going to show you. And make a map, get a routing app on your phone, put it all in, and you're going to, because the person just passed so many things. Why didn't they make a left here and show the Bugsy Siegel house? Why didn't they show where Howard Hughes crashed? I can guarantee you they didn't, and they definitely didn't stop where Ronnie Chasen was, where she crashed her car. Well, a little bit of a rant now. But rest in peace to all the people in the story. I mean, Bugsy Siegel, not the most moral, he was a mobster, but definitely rest in peace, Ronnie Chasen. Jan Berry did eventually pass away. And Howard Hughes as well. All right. There we go. Looks like they're sightseeing. Maybe they're going to go take a look. So obviously just kind of a rambling video that I've done now, but I think I should. Oh, they did stop at the Bugsy Siegel house. There you go. See, they're doing their own tour. They're stopping right there, and they were just taking a look, and they had their camera out. That's how you got to do it. All right, from Beverly Hills, California. Hope you like this video. The Beverly Hills Triangle. I almost said Bermuda Triangle. Peace out.